afternoon, class of 2026. I'm Emma DeYoung.
And I'm Tolu Ademola. And as the only international marshals in the class of 2026, we've often spoken about what it means to build a home far from where we first began, to find community across borders, backgrounds, and experiences.
And that's part of why it feels especially meaningful to introduce today's Harvard orator, someone whose work has always revolved around connection between art and identity, ambition and vulnerability, dreaming and becoming.
Ihechikarageme Munonye, a sociology concentrator in Pforzheimer House from Washington, D.C., has spent her time at Harvard creating spaces for people to see themselves more fully. Through the Harvard-Radcliffe Dramatic Club, Ihechikarageme wrote, directed, and produced her own original play, The Firm, while also helping shape Harvard's Black theater community through Blackcast, the Black Playwright Festival, and productions across campus, including Jesus Christ Superstar and the annual Arts First Festival. As a member of the Harvard-Radcliffe Collegium Musicum, she's brought her voice to stages from Carnegie Hall to Lincoln Center to concert halls across Sweden.
But beyond the accomplishments themselves, what stands out about Chika is the way she moves through the world, with thoughtfulness, emotional honesty, and a deep belief in the power of storytelling. In many ways, her story reflects something true about our class, that behind every achievement is sacrifice, behind every title is uncertainty, and behind every future is the courage to imagine one for yourself. Today, Chika invites us to remember the parts of ourselves we may have set aside in the pursuit of success, and to dream boldly enough to reclaim them.
So please, join us in welcoming our classmate, artist, storyteller, and Harvard orator,
Ihechikarageme Munonye.
Good afternoon, class of 2026 and our loved ones. My name is Ihechikarageme Munonye, and a few of you know me personally as Chika. And it is an incredible honor to stand here with you today. Before anything else, congratulations, class of 2026, we made it. And when I say we made it, I do not just mean surviving late nights in Lamont, exams, problem sets, or the occasional existential crisis about concentrations and careers. No, I mean that each of us have arrived here, carrying with us stories of our dreams, of our families, and the moments who have shaped who we are. My story begins in Washington, D.C., where I was born and raised in a low-income neighborhood with my sister and my parents. My mother worked multiple jobs to keep our household afloat, and when I was young, my father became very ill. And soon, my sister and I found ourselves stepping into roles that children are typically not meant to fill. But despite it all, my parents held on to one belief, that knowledge could change the trajectory of one's life. My parents believed that curiosity matters, that it leads to resilience, and resilience matters. They taught me from a young age that education could open the doors that we could not yet see, and they were right. By the time I had graduated high school, I had earned not only my high school diploma, but also my associate's degree from George Washington University. It felt like the beginning of everything. And then that same year, my father passed away. It was a time when sorrow stood in place of celebration, when grief overshadowed accomplishment. During that time, writing became my refuge. I filled fragments of pages with stories about the world, trying to understand it and my place in it. Writing gave shape to the emotions I could not quite say out loud. And so, From the moment I received my Harvard acceptance letter, I knew that writing was something I wanted to explore. Freshman year, I planned to study sociology while exploring storytelling through English and film and theater. But somewhere along the line, a question began to follow me. How would my actions affect my mother? My mother is the strongest woman I know. A woman who left everything behind to come to the United States in hopes of creating a better future for her children. And so, deep down, I began to wonder, was it fair to dream? Was it fair to pursue passions that do not always yield financial security? Sophomore year, I make a practical decision. I changed my concentration to environmental science and engineering. And after just one semester of problem sets and labs and late nights trying to convince myself that I knew what was going on in Math 1A, I came to a very important conclusion. I simply was not built for that life. And so I thought, okay, what is the next practical option? Economics, because this is Harvard after all. And very quickly, I discovered something remarkable. Economics was somehow harder for me than engineering. So I would like to give a huge shout out to our graduating engineering degrees and economics degrees. By the end of my sophomore year, I feel disoriented. I changed my concentration back to sociology, but I still had convinced myself that financial security was the only thing that mattered. And so, naturally, that following summer, I did 2 consulting internships simultaneously. And no, I do not ever recommend doing that. But that summer taught me something important. It taught me that sometimes when we spend all of our energies chasing after the things we think we should be doing, we sometimes lose sight of what it is we are meant to do. Junior fall comes around, and I have a loaded course schedule with 4 sociology classes, and then after some thought, I take an English course. It had taken me nearly 2 years to take my first English course here at Harvard. And slowly, I began writing again. At the end of my junior fall semester, I finally tell my mother everything. The pressure, the anxiety, the feeling that every single decision I made had to justify the sacrifices she had made for me. And I remember she looked at me in only a way a mother could, both proud and a little heartbroken too. And she told me something that I will never forget. She told me to go back and read the essay that I wrote that got me into Harvard. And so I did. And there, on those pages, was a younger version of myself writing about storytelling and creativity and all the art forms I wanted to explore but never had the resources to. Somewhere between my freshman year and my junior fall semester, I had forgotten about that person. And so I made another decision. Not a dramatic one, not an overnight transformation, but a shift in perspective. I allowed myself to envision a life where success and passion need not exist on opposite sides of the spectrum. It wasn't easy. I mean, even now, I still worry when I think about pursuing the things I care most about. But if Harvard has taught me anything, it is this: that the most meaningful experiences are not the ones that are built on certainty, but the ones that are built on courage. There is a Japanese word that I think captures this idea quite beautifully: ikigai. It describes the intersection of 4 things: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can pay you. And for a very long time, I thought I had to choose just one of those 4 things. But the real challenge in this life, and what I would argue to be the real joy in this life, is finding where those 4 things intersect. Class of 2026, we are incredibly fortunate to be here today, not just because we've worked hard, and though certainly we have, but because so many people have helped us along the way. And a Harvard degree is powerful, not simply because of the name printed on the diploma, but because of what it allows us to do for others. We all have the responsibility to make meaning out of our Harvard degrees. Each of us will go off and leave this campus. However, wherever we go, I hope we remember 2 things. Do not abandon the passions that made you who you are today. The curiosity, the creativity, the sense of wonder that brought you all here in the first place. That is something to never, ever outgrow. It is something to hold on to and protect. And second, please remember that the opportunities that we have been given come with responsibilities. There are countless of people in the world with dreams and talents equal to that of our own, who have not been given the same resources that we have been given. Not because they lack ability, and most certainly not because they lack ambition, but because circumstances have placed barriers in their paths. So, class of 2026, dream big for yourself. And as you dream for yourself, try to dream for others as well. Use your knowledge, use your creativity, use your influence, use your Harvard brains, as my mom likes to say, to make the world more compassionate and a little more hopeful too. The greatest luck in this life is being born. But one of the greatest tragedies is never being able to live out the dreams you carry deep inside of you. And so, as we all graduate from the Harvard University, we carry with us both possibility and privilege. So pursue the things that ignite your spirit. Write the stories, solve the problems, build the ideas, create the art. Find your ikigai. And most importantly, class of 2026, please have the courage to live it. Congratulations again, class of 2026, and thank you.